This is Geek Gab with your hosts, Dorrinal and me, Daddy Warpig. We are back. Geek Gab for Saturday, July 2nd, 2022. Happy 4th of July weekend, folks. It was just on Friday, it was Canada Day. So happy Canada Day to all of you Canadians listening. And happy 4th of July to all of the red-blooded Americans in the audience. I think Canada Day is actually their Independence Day. I'm not sure because, I'm not Canadian. I've never been Canadian. No insult to Canada. I've never aspired to be Canadian. But, I am American and I've aspired to the 4th of July. I've aspired to be a great American, so I love the 4th of July.
USA,
I'm
baby.
really hoping my family is doing something on the 4th. So that's a Monday holiday. So happy 4th of July, folks.
Happy Independence Day. Showed those British what's what.
So are you having anything great, grand, and glorious planned for the 4th?
Oh, yeah. We're doing the full-on barbecue. Gonna hang out on the deck, enjoying the summer sun and some grilled foods. The neighborhood loves to set off fireworks, so that'll be some evening entertainment. The neighborhood should be lit up. And that's about it. It's about typical for July 4th fare, in my experience. But I hope everybody else gets to have a good time, too.
I'm just, my family traditionally does like a family get-together. So I'm going to have to call some people to see what we might be doing on the 4th and then, get together with my family because that's always a fun time.
Always a great time. It's not like we need an excuse to have another family summer barbecue, but birth of our nation's a good start. Good news. I know we don't get into politics that much or at all as a rule, but the only news I've been paying attention to this year, this is also the season where they publish Supreme Court decisions, and I'm not going to go into detail on them, but I was very surprised to find out that despite the fact that the USA is in a lot of trouble in the past few years, past decade, the Supreme Court's kind of working as intended. That was a surprise to me, a pleasant surprise. For me, good cause to celebrate the July 4th. And that's all I'll say about that.
No, I'm not going to say what I was going to say because it's a strictly political comment that was just irony. And if I started, I'm going to go down the dark side path. I do this on Twitter. I don't do this on the air.
That's right, dark side. Can I get your opinion on one thing really quick? The Constitution ain't dead yet. So that's the one thing that I'm sort of pleasantly surprised about.
I'm very happy about that. The Constitution still matters.
There we go. For the time being, and I'm happy for that.
Yep.
So go USA.
I will say this is hilarious. No, I'm not going to say that's hilarious. That's the second this is hilarious comment. This is all kinds of ironies happening because of decisions that were handed down this week, and they're just amazingly funny things. Just like the Supreme Court said, no, we rule that the Supreme Court isn't supposed to rule on this. States have to make laws on this. And then all the other people who were angry at the decision said, oh, yeah, well, our state's going to make a law on this. And the Supreme
Yes.
Court says, yes, that's what we said.
That was in fact the point.
And I'm just like, are you not listening to yourselves? Or people who sing there's a power takeover and the Supreme Court took power and gave it to Congress. And I'm like, A power takeover? This is the kind of power takeover where you don't get any power? I mean, if that's a power takeover, I took over the planet when I was born. Oh. Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
That's all right. You get one. Everybody gets one. It's the season.
Okay.
So anything in geekish news you want to talk about?
Yes. This is amazing, but I'm only going to use this because this isn't, it's just a springboard to what I really wanted to talk about. They have discovered a game-ending crasher in the Knights of the Old Republic 2 port to Nintendo's Switch. So near the end of the game, there is a cutscene, and the game crashes immediately after that cutscene. And if this happens to you, you can't ever move past that cutscene. You can't complete the game. And the official workaround for right now is to go into the party select screen, click on the thumbstick to get the cheat menu, and skip past that cutscene to get to the next planet. But don't go into the merchant area in the next planet because the game will continue to crash. And I'm just passing that along. That's also not what I'm commenting on. I mean, it's kind of convoluted, but it's that's just, what it was. That was the workaround, and they came out with a hot fix on the 30th. So if you have the game or you want to buy the game, apparently there's been a bug fix, a hot fix that fixed that crasher and a couple of other bad crashes that went live on the 30th, which was Thursday. So it's been several days now. But what I wanted to comment on was the raft of reviews. Not because they gave the game a good score, despite this crasher, but because the vast majority of reviewers, excepting literally 2 or 3, and know this because I read the news article on Bleeding Fool. No, it wasn't Bleeding Fool. It was Bounding into Comics. I read the news article, and they went through a whole bunch of reviewers, and literally 3 of them mentioned this bug. And none of the other reviewers mentioned this bug. In fact, everybody else said nothing about crashing or mentioned they had just a few crashes playing the game. Now, what does that tell you? They either didn't play the game long enough to get to this crash, or if they got to this crash, they didn't try it again and again to see if they could get past it.
Wow.
So this is the state of reviewers nowadays. It's like they play a third of the game and thought, hey, it looks okay to me. KOTOR was a good game. We'll just give it 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10, and what the hell? And it hurts my brain. This was actually the very first thing that I thought of when I was reading the article. Is not, oh, that's a terrible crash. Because it is a terrible crash. That's obvious. That's like the obvious thing. That's in the headline. But just realizing that all these idiots didn't do their job irritates the hell out of me.
Didn't they?
Didn't they irritate the hell out of me? They do their job.
Didn't they? They wrote their thing. They gave it a score. Presumably, one or two of them got a tiny paycheck for it. I bet they did their job. They certainly didn't serve their readers.
No. So, yeah, that's awful behavior. I mean, even Yahtzee Croshaw, when he doesn't finish a game, says in the review he didn't finish the game and describes why. So that
that would have been a good tactic. Hey, I didn't finish this game because of a game-ending crash. This is a terrible port of a great game. Don't play it. 0 out of 10. Right? That would have been a great, honest review.
Or don't play it until a bug fix comes out for this crasher because you can't get past it. Or just know if you're going to buy it and play it, you can't get past this bug. Wait for the fix to finish the game. Whatever. Something to indicate they had actually done their job. So that was the news that irritated me yesterday. And I've been in an irritable mood this week, so
Never mess with an irritable pig.
Let's think. I'm really trying to think if there's anything else notable.
Nope.
Big surprise this week on the Game of Thrones front. They're still going forward with Game of Thrones TV shows at HBO.
That doesn't make any sense. Isn't it over?
They're like spin-offs and prequels and who knows what. Yeah. Oh, yes, there was. Miss Marvel is the lowest rated MCU TV series on Disney Plus ever. And so I just wanted to thank every single person who didn't watch that show for contributing to this landmark achievement. You are the real MVPs here, folks. You have made it absolutely a landmark event, the least watched MCU show. And I want to remind you what kind of competition that was up against. That was up against Moon Knight. That was up against Hawkeye. That was up against the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And also WandaVision, which is actually okay. And Loki, which is actually, pretty decent. But Moon Knight, it beat Moon Knight and Hawkeye. So you have accomplished something, and I want to thank everybody who didn't watch the show. You are amazing, each and every one of you, and you have done something incredible and great for the future of streaming television. So give yourselves a round of applause. In fact, I will give you a round of applause.
You're so gracious. On behalf of everyone who didn't watch any of that crap, I gladly accept your award and applause. We did it, everyone.
I know I said I was curious about it and I might end up watching it, but I haven't yet, so I have contributed myself.
Oh, good.
And maybe now that it's gone down in flames already and achieved that accomplishment, I can watch it and, now it won't matter.
You haven't seen those other ones, have you? Moon Knight and whatever?
I haven't seen Moon Knight. I haven't seen Hawkeye. I did watch WandaVision. I did watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And I want to think there was something before that, but I can't remember. So,
there was Loki. I got dragged into watching Loki, and it was actually pretty good.
Oh, Loki. Yeah, I watched Loki. It was pretty good. Of course, all the Netflix Marvel series Daredevil and all the others that showed up in the Daredevil use. The Defenders,
Punisher.
Punisher, Iron Fist, Jessica Jones. All those have now shown up on Disney Plus. So, you could watch them if you had a Disney Plus subscription, or you could not. And if you've already seen them, they're still just as good. And those were, on the whole, far, far better than anything that has shown up on Disney Plus. And I will still say that Daredevil was really good. A little bloated in a lot of places because they were trying to make it into like a 10-hour movie or however many episodes they had. So they really had it bloated in places, but it was still really good, and the fight scenes were quite excellent. Just amazing at some points. The Defender series was abysmal, unfortunately. 6 episodes of not really greatness, and that was sad. Iron Fist was terrible. It had some good things in it, but on the whole, it was terrible. Because the main character was terrible, and the guy that cast in the role was awful, just awful. I'm like,
Terrible.
He's Iron Fist. Why couldn't you have made into somebody cool? I still keep thinking that I should go watch like Black Widow and Shang-Chi and the Eternals.
No. Let me stop you right there. Just stop. Doing this to yourself, Daddy Warpig. I'm speaking to you as a friend.
I watched all of Star Trek Discovery and Picard, and I still haven't watched those MCU movies. That's how much they have not appealed to me, even as a reviewer. I'm watching The Boys currently, and I'm starting to question my sanity at this point, because I could not recommend these films just for the content. Just for the content, I could not recommend these films. I'm embarrassed saying I'm watching them, even to review them. I mean, I know film reviewers who had to watch like American Beauty. Was that the movie?
Oh, that awful Oscar bait with Kevin Spacey. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm not even talking about having to watch it now. I mean, watching any movie with Kevin Spacey now is just like, it almost ruins Baby Driver, and I love Baby Driver.
Baby Driver is a good movie.
But yeah, there are like some people who had to watch American Beauty, and you kind of felt bad having to admit that you watched American Beauty to review it. But this is just like a whole other thing. It's just, I don't even want to describe what's in it, because they're advertising the awful and abysmal things that are in it. It's like they're bragging about it online, and it's I think we're 7 episodes in or 9 episodes in now, and I'm just going to finish the season so I can review it, but I could not honestly recommend this to anyone right now. And I don't see anything changing at the end of it. I could dissect this in terms of, was the story interesting? Did they do anything good with it? But let me tell you what the season is so far. And it's going to be a little bit of a spoiler, but, spoiler
Actually,
warning.
you lost me. What are we talking about now?
The Boys, season 3.
The Boys? Oh, okay.
That superhero show?
Yes, I know.
You know how Homelander as a character is basically what if Superman was evil?
Mm-hmm.
They introduced a new character this season called Soldier Boy. And he is what if Captain America was evil?
Okay. Exciting.
Yep. It's just as compelling as you imagine it to be. It's I don't know. I thought that the Garth Ennis series, what I heard about it and what I saw of it, because I haven't read the series, was nasty. I just don't want to even mention it. Like, just talking about the comic series, what I know of it is just repulsive. And I don't know for a fact that the series, the TV series, is worse than the comics. But what they've put on in the last 2 episodes of the TV series is worse than the little bit I know of the comics, if you see what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
And that was bad enough to make me not ever want to read the comics ever again. It's not as grindingly painful as like Lower Decks or whatever. It's not so immediately eye-bleedingly bad painful, because the guy playing Homelander is doing an insanely phenomenal job with the role, but that does not excuse the rest of the show, and it does not make it a good show, and it does not make it something worth watching. That's just, a great actor doing great with a role. The rest of the show is, and I guess I'm meaning morally, the rest of the show is a moral trash pit. It's not the worst thing I've ever watched. It doesn't make me feel like my soul needs to take a shower after watching it. And I have had things that have done that, rarely. Gamer, the movie Gamer, makes my soul feel like I had to take a shower after watching it. Not because the movie is unrealistic or whatever, but because the movie is perfectly realistic. That if you had technology that allowed you to control somebody else's movements vicariously, to feel what they feel, to be in their body and get to do with their body what you wanted, that everything they showed in the movie is absolutely where society would go with that, or where society could go with that, being corrupted by that technology. And it is just so repulsive morally. It makes you feel dirty inside watching. I regret watching the movie, and I'd never watch it again. It is just a complete mental bath in the worst aspects of humanity. And so The Boys season 3 is not that bad, but in fact, it's kind of like Gamer presented, hey, if this technology existed, human beings could become this corrupted. Whereas The Boys is, here are the writers of the show, and they are quite clearly doing really, really nasty things just because they're trying to, put their thumb in the audience's eye. So there's a couple of episodes left. I'm going to stick with it to the end of the season, just to finish, reviewing this season, because that is just the last 2 episodes. But man, the last 2 episodes have been, they're just putting more and more grotesque and dirty things into it just to stick their thumb in the audience's eye. And it's just repulsive.
Hey, I've to abruptly change the subject, I do have some other geek news
Okay.
for people listening in. Catching up on our pulp rev and pulp friendly authors. Tales of Meerkat and a Mongoose, Volume 2, Kursova's latest Kickstarter. They completed, they got over $5,000.
Yes.
So I hope Jim Brayfogel's really pleased. So those are going to be going out. And they're getting ready to start up a new one. They've got a new book from Misha Burnett coming up next. Lots of great stuff happening. I don't know if we talked about this. It's been about a month, but Brian Niemeyer's Kickstarter completed for Combat Frame Exceed, smashing success. Looking forward to the perks on that later. People have been getting their stuff from Pylum Press. Thune's Vision, Shagduk, and I got a copy of Wells of Ur. That's an older one, but really cool stuff.
I got both of those. I wasn't talking because I physically got up from my chair to grab my copy of Shagduk. I got the hardback. It's a fabulous book. I'm so excited. I want to read it, and if I wasn't so busy, I would. I worked 12 hours the other day. Did I say that last week?
Wow.
I worked 12 hours the other day. I was busy. I can't keep doing that because I'll burn myself out and I won't be able to do anything. But yeah, just happened. I had to work 12 hours on projects. Well, on the same project. It was different aspects of it, but yeah. Daniel Humphrey's Paxton Locke reboot succeeded in its funding goals. And that was unfortunate. We had him in talks to come on the show. We just had other guests line up to where he couldn't come on during his actual Kickstarter. And I really did feel bad about that. But we had guests who had asked to come on first, and then I told them, look, if we have a guest fall through, that slot's yours. Any of those guests fall through do your Kickstarter, that slot's yours, but none of them did. Surprising. So, yeah. But we're happy that his project funded, so that's great.
Good news. So, hey, want to tell us about a movie that you recently watched?
I got in on the Mongoose and Meerkat 2 because I have Mongoose and Meerkat 1. And then I had to go in and quote unquote adjust my payment something or other because apparently Kickstarter didn't like it. So, but it's handy. They now take Apple Pay apparently.
Nice.
So I was on my phone. They were like, oh no, you need to add a new form of payment. And I was like, I could hunt down my wallet and find a card. Oh wait, what's this Apple Pay button? Ding. And I, stick my face in front of my phone and it's ding. Payment went through. I'm like, oh, modern conveniences.
Got to make it easy to give them money.
Yes, that's my motto. You're not on Twitter, so you didn't see the short thread I did, but that was my motto. Make it easier to give people money. And I think I mentioned this on the show, but I'm going to mention it again anyway. If you're doing a Kickstarter, always make sure your Kickstarter ends like a few days after the first of the month. So like on the 3rd or 4th, because people get money on the 1st through the 3rd of the month. And the biggest days for Kickstarters are right at the beginning or right at the end. So if right at the end comes right after people get paid, they get money right before the big push and they can pay. If you end the Kickstarter on the 30th or the 31st, that's when people have the least amount of money. They can't get splurgy and be like, oh yeah, that's exciting. I should buy that. Because they don't have money. Right? So time your Kickstarters or Indiegogos or whatever to end when people have money just coming in. They got their full paycheck and they're feeling a little spendy. Because everybody who gets a full paycheck feels a little spendy. They feel like they can splurge a little bit. And if your Kickstarters for a book, because you're an author, usually you're talking for a physical book, $25 to $30 with shipping and handling, right? Or if it's an ebook, you're talking $7. And that's a small enough amount that people who are feeling spendy are going to be willing to spend on it. And if it comes in right then, bam. And the other good thing is, if it's ending on the 3rd or 4th, and it's been a month-long Kickstarter, that means it's starting on the 3rd or 4th, a month earlier. And the biggest time for a Kickstarter is right when it's starting. And if you schedule it to start on the 3rd or 4th, and this may sound a little repetitive, people are feeling spendy. Now, this is only between you and me. Between you and me, my Pulp Rev, my writer buds. We don't want this getting out to everybody, because everybody will do it. Let them do the dumb thing. You go in targeting. Maximize the amount of money you make by just scheduling it right, getting people when they're feeling spendy, and it'll boost your initial numbers. It'll boost your final numbers. And I know this. I only thought of this because there have been Kickstarters that I haven't been able to buy into that I wanted to buy into because they were ending on the last day of the month and I didn't have money. The recent Kickstarter for Nick Cole and Jason Onspach's role-playing game for Forgotten Ruin. They have a role-playing game for their, Army Rangers in D&D world. I wanted to get in on that. I wanted to get a copy of that role-playing game, but I couldn't. No money. If they had delayed it by 4 days, I would have bought in. They would have had another contributor, made more money. So this is not a blue sky thing I just came up with meditating on Kickstarters. This is something that happened to me that I've noticed as a purchaser, as a participant in Kickstarters and Indiegogos, that I wish people did so that I could get in on more of them. So, just as far as making it easier for people to give you more money, use BackerKit or another site. BackerKit allows people to increase their pledge after the campaign is over so that they can give you more money. And it also allows you to add another, up to 30 days onto your campaign so more people can come in and buy into your campaign, Kickstarter campaign, even after it's over. So you get another 30 days of people spending money. Always make it easier for people to spend money, to give you money. So again, this is not some blue sky thing or me listening to other sellers or whatever. Literally a campaign did that. And I got suckered into raising my pledge. And I did it you can do it up to 25, 30 days after. So they got more money from me because the window was open longer and because I could increase my pledge and get more than I actually planned on.
And that sounds manipulative because it is, but the difference between what you're pledging for when you pledge for something that Cursova produces or Pylon Press prints or something like that, like the people we talk to on the show, you're getting quality entertainment out of them. So I don't feel bad when I get suckered in, and this is just a wild example out of the hat, when I choose to get the linen hardcover add-on of, Mongoose and Meerkat Volume 1, right? Like, who does that? I didn't need that, but I know I'm getting some quality entertainment out of it. So don't feel bad. Sell your product. These are techniques. They have no moral dimension.
Yeah, just always make it easier for people to give you money. That's the base advice. And these are some things that I have found as just a regular person who doesn't have all that much money, and I think most of us are feeling that because of inflation and stuff. These are literally places I would wanted to have given money to, but I couldn't. They made it a little harder for me to give them money, and I literally couldn't. And another place that made it easier for me to give them money, and ended up doing it. So I am passing my experiences on to you. Let's see. There was some news that popped up in the feed too. Common America plus Soul Finder plus Black Hops is crushing it in both Indiegogo and Kickstarter. Video Mirador, Overmind by John Del Rose has reached $20,000. So good news out there too. I am sure there are other other Kickstarters coming or running right now that I just forget. And I apologize to everyone. Oh, they had that annual sale. And I can't even remember the name of.
Oh, Hans Schantz.
Yeah. Apparently that one really good this year. They had an increase in numbers over last year, and Bayan Books has offered to join in for next year. So, yeah, that's was a good year on that sale and a good year for next year. I dipped in and bought too many of those books. I mean, too many for my budget, not because they're not good books. Let's think. That's everything I can think of right now.
Good enough. I'm going to have to put a timestamp in the show notes so people checking this out on YouTube later know when to tune in for the Willy's Wonderland review.
Oh, that's okay. Oh, wow, we're pretty far along on the show. That's fine, though. All those things were good things to have gotten into and discussed, though. We really
absolutely.
Did I mention Discovery of Witches? I'm watching that because I have canceled my AMC Plus.
You mentioned that, yeah. That's the only thing worth watching.
Oh no, I mentioned that to you before the show. Did I mention it on the air?
I don't know.
Okay.
It all blurs together.
So, just as far as upcoming reviews go, I'm doing The Boys season 3. We're watching the second part of the last season of Stranger Things just dropped on Friday. So we're going to try and watch all of that. I'm watching a show called Discovery of Witches on AMC Plus. It's based off of a urban fantasy trilogy. It stars Teresa Palmer, which I admit is like 35% of why I wanted to watch the show. She's the hot blonde chick off of the Sorcerer's Apprentice movie with Nick Cage that came out in 2013. No idea what I'm talking about, do you?
Nope. I can bring it up on IMDb and find out.
Okay. Yeah, those are the 3 things we're watching. I canceled my AMC Plus subscription because that is literally the only show on the service that I really want to watch. Everything else is just like the latest episode of The Walking Dead, but they don't show anything else because they're busy selling it to other people. So I've got 5 more days to watch like 10 episodes of the show, and then I'm doing a review of it just because I spend too much money on streaming services, and I'm starting to cancel all of them that don't absolutely justify their existence. Amazon Prime I get for free with my Prime shipping, so that one's I'm not spending any money on it. That one just stays, but everything else I'm forcing to justify its existence before I cancel it. So we'll have to see what stays and what goes.
Hey, unpopular opinion, none of it's justified. You should cancel it all. Throw out your TV. That said, yeah, we did binge Stranger Things. So looking forward to talking about that next week.
I use my TV to play video games on.
Oh, I see. That's right. It does have that purpose.
Oh yeah, I've been playing the Shadowrun. You may not remember this, guys, but in 2013 they did a Shadowrun Returns Kickstarter, Harebrained Schemes, which is headed by Jordan Wiseman, who was the lead designer of the original Shadowrun role-playing game. Licensed the rights to Shadowrun, the IP, from Microsoft, who had ended up buying everything FASA and got the rights to Battletech and Shadowrun. And they made a little game called Shadowrun Returns based off this Kickstarter. Then they did a Kickstarter for Shadowrun Hong Kong, and then also Shadowrun Dragonfall. And I think Dragonfall may have come first, then Shadowrun Hong Kong. And so they had a trilogy of games that were very popular, successful on Kickstarter. And I actually got in on the Kickstarter for one of those, or two of those three. The second two, couldn't afford Shadowrun Returns at the time. But since then, they have stopped being playable on the Mac because the Mac has switched processors, and twice, I think. They switched to PC chips, to Intel chips, and now they've switched to Apple Silicon. And so they have had a company called Paragon Interactive port them to the PS5 and the Xbox One and Xbox Series X. And those just came out a couple weeks ago or a week ago. So me being me, I pre-ordered them. And now, a few days after they came out, or the same day that they came out, but not before, they released them on the Xbox's Ultimate Game Pass. So I could have played them for free.
Womp womp.
On the end, I actually had a lot of fun because it's been years and years and years since I've played them. And I'm busy running around Seattle right now, trying to find the killer of a friend of mine. And it's a fun little game. They're not huge, AAA first-person shooter role-playing games. They are top-down 3D isometric games. I don't think they were made with RPG Maker, but if you've ever seen an RPG Maker game, they're those kinds of games. The ones that frequently get kickstarted, like the new Monera game from Monty Cook Games. What is it? Pillars of Eternity. A lot of those other smaller role-playing games that have come out in the last 10 years have all been 3D isometric because they're a good way to do the they're a good way to do smaller role-playing games if you don't have the budget of a AAA gamer. Oh, by the way, this is really true. I thought this was a joke. Microsoft is buying Activision Blizzard.
Oh, yeah. News a long time ago. It was true. That wasn't a rumor. Didn't we talk about it on the show?
I'm thinking we talked about it on the show, but I might have forgotten about it.
Crazy, right?
I have a very busy life, and I forget about things that aren't really important yet.
Well, I mean, after what's happened to Blizzard, Microsoft couldn't possibly make it worse.
Did you hear what happened to Blizzard?
No.
Everybody's all agog. They're like, oh my gosh, Blizzard made $24 million on Diablo Immortal in its first 2 weeks. People will never stop making these grab gotcha games first. It's piker money. That's loser money in the mobile addiction whale market. Those games, the top tier games, make $100 million a week. A week.
Those gotcha games? Wow.
Well, yeah, the pay to win mobile games like Diablo Immortal.
Mm-hmm.
The top tier ones, like the top 3 or 4 or 5 of them, they make $100 million a week.
Wow.
And Blizzard is pulling down $12 million a week. So on the scale of the market they wanted to enter, they're a failure. That's not big money. That's loser money. That's barely scraping the bottom of the barrel money. That's, oh, you did all right. Polite golf clap money. And the reason why, and this is where it's hilarious, the person running their social media account on the Chinese site called, and I'm not making this up, Weeaboo. That's not actually how it's pronounced. It's spelled Weiboo. So I'm pronouncing it Weeaboo. That's the Chinese, social media site. They're big social media site. They're like Twitter or Facebook equivalent. The person running their official account said, when does the bear retire? Or why doesn't the bear retire? Now, the bear is referring to Winnie the Pooh.
Yep, that's what I thought.
And Winnie the Pooh is a reference to the chairman of the Communist Party of China, the head of the whole dictatorship of the country. So the official Blizzard account for all of China posted on the biggest social media account in China, hey, why doesn't this dictator just get the hell out of here? So the game, and all these games that are making $100 million a week, they make all their money in China. They don't make their money in the US or Europe. They make most of that money in China. That $12 million a week, that's US money. That's where you go to make that money. It's okay money. It's loser money. You make the rest of that $100 million in China. That's China money, right? The other, like $88 million, that's China money. That's where you go to get that money. That's why a Chinese company bought into Blizzard to get Blizzard's IP to use in China. And now they've been banned for the next 3 years. 3 years in China. Which may as well be forever. Because with a mobile game like that, 3 years is well past its sell-by date. That's well past, oh, you're an also-ran. You're yesterday's news. You're not just yesterday's news. You're like last year's news and last decade's news. You might as well have come out in the 1920s, okay? You are so ancient by that point, nobody's going to buy you anyway. So Blizzard screwed over its core audience. They got the biggest joke ever in BlizzCon, you know, by that cool little bald guy with the satchel. Is this an April Fool's joke? They got dragged all across the media in the hopes of scoring Chinese money. And because of one comment by one staffer on one website in communist China, they've gotten banned and they will never make Chinese money off this thoroughly immoral addiction whale machine game. This game is such an it is designed to use every single addiction mechanic casinos have been perfecting for decades to the nth degree. And it is absolutely insane. They've got a site now that has a simulator on it to find out how much money you would have to spend to max out all 4 pieces of gear on your body, on your, you know, yourself. And people are finding you just go there and push the button and it will take you through simulating it. People are finding that figure of 100,000 or something is really not off. It's not off. That's really a legitimately good estimate. So, yeah. Blizzard sold its soul, destroyed its reputation to make Chinese money, and now they're having to settle for, you know,
peanuts
American
on the dollar.
So, couldn't happen to a better company. Good job, Blizzard.
Hey, remember the Blizzard of 20 years ago that was all about high quality polished products?
Yeah.
Yep. Rest in pieces.
I still haven't bought the Warcraft 3 because I heard they lied about what was in it, and then they went back and screwed up the real Warcraft 3 just out of spite, apparently. It also made me not want to buy the, update or remake or whatever they did of Warcraft or of Diablo 2, because it's like, I mean, sure, I could have a Diablo 2 that runs on my Xbox or runs on my computer now, but why do I want to have all my memories of Diablo 2 in a game that's just absolute total trash? You know, the last good game Blizzard made was, I think, StarCraft 2.
Yeah,
if there's
that's fair.
Okay. And I'm playing StarCraft 2 right now, and I'm really enjoying it. Really loving the game. It was actually a really well-designed game. And I didn't have enough money to buy it when it was brand new, so I had to buy it, 2 or 3 years ago when it was on sale cheap. But yeah, it was a fabulous game. And I also bought the StarCraft Ghost character. What's her name?
Nova.
Nova? they had an extended mini campaign with her. Bought that as DLC, played that. That was great. Had so much fun with that too. You know, StarCraft 2 is a for a swan song for the real Blizzard. At least they went out with a bang. At least they went out with an amazing game with a lot of cool mechanics. I mean, as Terrans, you get those research points where you get to add cool stuff. Like the biggest gap I found with Terrans, the biggest annoying thing is all of a sudden when you finally get enough crystals and gas to build units, you run up against immediately supply problems and you have to start building the supply depots and it takes forever. Then you research up Protoss and you can get supply depots that drop from the sky. And it's instant. As soon as you start building it, they almost instantly drop. And that's just the best thing because that removes the most critical gap once you've got your production line of crystals and gas and set up. So, yeah, the research is done well with the Terrans. You get to choose which two of the researcher, things are going on. Kerrigan hunting up her little evolution points to get extra special abilities. That's all great. They added new stuff to the Protoss, new units for Terrans and Zervisly, and that's all cool. The campaigns are amazing. They're just wonderful. The new units do nice things. Having the transport units also heal up mechanical units for the Terrans is cool. Changing SCVs to organic units so they can be healed by medics instead of being repaired. That's neat. It's just such a well game. It's a great sequel to StarCraft, and I love it. I love playing it. And if that was the swan song for Blizzard, obviously I would have preferred Blizzard to go on in its glory. But if this had to be the last good game out of Blizzard, they did a great job.
All good things.
Let's talk about.
What are we talking about now?
Willy's Wonderland. Last minutes of the show.
I'm gonna have to change the show title and everything, but yeah. So this is a movie from 2021.
Yes, that we threatened to review like a year and a half ago.
Yeah, I remember the trailer hit, and it was really exciting, and it just fell off my radar. I don't know about you. But we sat down and watched it. We watched it earlier this year, and you just watched it.
Yeah. I keep on wanting to watch things and keep on not getting around to them because how many times have I said this episode? My schedule is jammed.
Well, it's not only that, maybe for you, but just the change in the way we consume entertainment these days with the streaming services and with 2020 turning the world mad and everything. It's easy to miss stuff because that stuff's just not that important anymore. But tell me about it. What did you think?
I am not going to blame the screenwriters. If they did get inspiration from Five Nights at Freddy's, that's fine. I'm not going to blame them. Maybe they came up with this entirely on their own. That's fine too. But this really is Five Nights at Freddy's, the movie. If Five Nights at Freddy's was a kick-ass video game instead of startle bait for easily excited Twitch streamers, okay? It's like Five Nights at Freddy's made cool.
I have no idea what you're talking about other than I've heard the name a million times. Five Nights at Freddy's, that's a video game, I take it?
It's a series of video games, yes.
Oh, okay. But the setup is that the main character's trapped overnight in um, a Chuck E. Cheese style restaurant entertainment place that's basically where the animatronics are possessed,
Yes.
and they kill everybody.
Yes. And there are way more similarities too, but yeah, I really, really, really like this movie. I thought this movie was great. Uh, Good Nick Cage is awesome, and I'm a big Nick Cage fan. And this was some great Nick Cage. Uh, this is only Nick Cage could have played this role. Uh, and it is amazing to see him Nick Caging it up all across the movie. It's just awesome. Here's the thing: if you ever heard the premise of the movie, Nick Cage trapped inside what you just said, right? Trapped inside a Chuck E. Cheese like place where the animatronics come alive and murder people. Just that description sets some expectations for you. And this movie matches all those expectations and exceeds them. It absolutely fulfilled everything I could have wanted from that description. And exceeds them. It's great. It's a lot of fun. The only thing they were concerned about in making the movie was making it fun for the audience. They include a plot and a backstory, so it's not a just because movie. And
Dude, it was just fun.
yeah,
It's like you said, everything that like you would expect from that. Okay, it's got a cheesy B horror movie setup. You've got a group of adolescents who are going to get in all sorts of trouble and make all the same mistakes they do in horror movies. It's got a weird sounds and creepy camera angles and wacky monsters that come to life and kill these poor adolescents. And this whole time, there's Nicolas Cage just doing his thing. He's stuck there cleaning the place. He's supposed to get it clean um, before dawn, and that's just a pretense, of course, for getting him murdered by the animatronics. But he just does his job with grim determination, including fighting and defeating the animatronics. Uh, and he does it like you said, the Nick Cageism. He just you could probably describe it better than me, but like the grim determination on his face all the time, and he's got this ritual where he's addicted to this monster like drink. Like he's got an energy drink, uh, and every half an hour, right, he takes a break from the work, and he goes into the break room and he has a drink. And meanwhile, these monsters are waiting for the right time to jump out and murder him or some poor teenagers or something like that. And it's funny, but it also sort of it lets you know who he is. And I'm going to spoil something for anybody who hasn't seen it. I hope you don't mind if I spoil this. He does not have a single speaking line. Sorry to spoil that.
I think he has one in the car at the very end of the movie.
That might be true.
He says his name at the very end of the movie, but the entire rest of the movie, he doesn't say anything.
But yeah, you're right. tons of fun. So these people took everything they know about making a horror movie like that, and the relief, right? The comic relief and the tension relief isn't it's not contrived, but it's also completely contrived. It literally pauses all the action mid-fight for his ritual. He's like, nope, break time. I'm gonna rest up. I'm gonna have a completely contrived yet at the same time not contrived. Like, you're not gonna stop him from doing his thing. Um, Hilarious, and a ton of fun to watch.
Even their little jingle, the jingle they sing, this is how good they did it. The jingle that they sing is actually a catchy jingle. It's actually a good jingle. The song they sing for the kids, you find yourself like, oh yeah, this is great.
Yeah, I could see my 10-year-old self being here, getting murdered by robots.
It's just the backstory is funny and horrifying in equal measure. And the lines the sheriff says at different points are just great. Oh. Yeah, I enjoyed the movie thoroughly. I mean, I don't know. I get this feeling that some people go into movies, and if they're not all like Four Weddings and a Funeral or The King's Speech or something, they like sneer at the movie. If you're one of those people, this is not the movie for you.
Or like when you're in your horror movies, it's supposed to be something that, Paranormal Activity or the Conjuring or something like that, something that you're supposed to take seriously. Actually, those movies are pretty good, but like if it's not pretending to be highbrow, like you can't have a horror movie with a premise that you don't take seriously, because if you don't take it seriously, then how are you going to get scared? And the truth is, sometimes you watch a horror movie just for the fun of it, and that's what this is.
Yeah, it's not an all-out horror comedy like Shaun of the Dead, but at the same time, there is really dark humor in this movie.
That's right. There are a few overt jokes, but it's a lot of dark humor.
So yeah, I would definitely recommend this movie. Just it's not a highbrow horror movie like The Witch or some of the other new, it's not a thinky horror movie like Get Out or any one of those Jordan Peele movies. But man, is it fun.
Absolutely. That's all I got to say about it. Man, why haven't you watched it yet? Watch it. It's a great, make some popcorn, hang out with your buds or your girlfriend, and just enjoy. One of the most satisfying horror and or comedy movies I've seen in a while.
See, I've got this little rule nowadays when I look at movies, is I look at the year it was made, and the further after 2010 it's made, the less I want to see it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this movie is a real big exception to that rule. Because like it came out in 2021, but it's an amazing movie. So there are some movies still coming out that are amazing movies. But man, they're getting rarer and rarer. And that's not a joke. That's not a slam on movies. I literally, when I go planning on like what movies I want to see, I look at the picture, I read the description, and then I check the year. And that determines whether I want to actually watch the movie or not. That's like the third thing on my list. If I see it's from the 80s or 90s or something, then it's on my, I'll probably watch that. Or 70s and earlier, then it, 80s and 90s are my sweet spot. That jumps it right up to probably going to watch this. 70s for horror movies is, way high because 70s was a great decade for horror movies. But man, movies made after 2010, they just start declining in quality, especially after 2014. That's the sharp drop.
Mm-hmm.
Unless I know already they're good movies or that they're sequels to great franchises like Fast and the Furious or whatever.
Or Star Wars.
This movie is an exception. This movie is despite being made in 2021 is great. So yeah, that is literally all I have to say about that.
Well, cool. Ready to call it a show?
Yes.
Oh, that was fun. It was a lot of fun to just catch up on random geek stuff. Do we have any news coming up for future episodes?
Yeah, just those things I talked about reviewing. I think we should be able to get Stranger Things and the Discovery of Witches in for next week. I'm pretty sure The Boys isn't going to be done for several other weeks. And it's possible we might have more guests coming, although I literally have no one scheduled right now.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for hanging out in the chat. What?
I really did want to go see Jurassic World Dominion, but that hasn't happened. I really do want to see, Everything Everywhere all at once, but I'm not willing to spend $20 to watch it.
Oh yeah, I understand that.
And there was another. Oh yeah, I wanted to see Morbius just to review,
just to dunk on it.
But I'm not willing to spend $20 to watch Morbius either.
Yeah, you're on your own on that one.
Absolutely not spending $20 to watch Morbin Time. So no. So I'm actually waiting till those come out on streaming sometime before I watch those. So that's the new kind of timeline here. If I can't see it in theaters, then I'm waiting for it to come out streaming.
Come out streaming.
And then it has to come out on one of the services I'm not cutting this month. It's a bloodbath up in there. Oh, yeah, I'm watching Star Trek Strange New Worlds, which should be ending pretty soon. I think episode 9 came out this week. Still haven't watched that episode, but hope to get to that. All right, I'm done. It's a done show. We're done.
It's done. It is time. Well, thanks for hanging out and talking about all that stuff, Daddy Warpig. We even almost got politics adjacent for a moment. So I hope everybody enjoyed the show. And if you're listening live or this weekend, have a great 4th of July weekend, and everybody. That's it for me this week.
All right. I want to thank everybody who tuned in to listen live, participated in the chat, jumping things in the chat. Apparently, Harebrained Schemes did a great PC Battletech game, according to Bradford Walker, so you might want to check that out. I want to thank everybody who will listen later. By the way, you can join our live chat by listening to the show just about every Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on youtube.com/Geek Gab. That is youtube.com/Geek Gab. Or you can check us out on the Apple iTunes Store, on SoundCloud.com, or on the Google Play Store. Just do a search for Geek Gab to download us on the device of your choice or listen to us on the web. We are here for you because that's how much we care. We are signing out for today, folks, but don't you worry, don't you fret. We will be back.